Hi, Sarah with Spirit Expressions. I made Mother's Day card from Cricut Design Space and chose an envelope to go with it. The envelope number is down in the description. I'm showing you how I resized it. I'm not doing this in the most elegant of manners. There might be a much easier way, but I'm just changing it so that it fits half of the card that it'll go over. So if you notice, that length is right under 12 inches. I will show you how I made that kiss cut earlier. So I'm going to delete my one that I just created and stick with my original. And now I will show you how I used the Samantha font. Samantha font is purchasable. I'll leave a link to a video from YouTube for the person that I learned about Samantha font from, and he has a link in his video to purchase it. It's his affiliate link. I'm going to just stick with that because he also showed me how to use MainType, which is the program that I'm using here. He has a very nice video on how to do all of that. Incidentally, TroyTube is also the person that I learned the basics of Inkspace from. Not Inkspace, Inkscape, which is the program that I use to do most of my vectors. So, when creating wording, I actually prefer Inkscape because I like the alignment options better. But just a short word like mom, I'll do here in Design Space. I had problems changing the color on that because it was attached. I had to go down and select the individual one to change the color. And I decided to play with colors to see what color I liked best against it because I have a lot of different glitter papers. These are Paper Studio branded. They're lovely. They have a nice sparkle without all the glitter flaking off and getting all nasty and everywhere. I truly like using them. So I'm doing one last check to make sure that my card will actually fit in my envelope. And I'm ready to print. Now notice that it won't do a 12 by 12. I have to do a 12 by 24 because it is outside of Cricut's cutting parameters. I had to move my paper around to make it cut correctly. I gave it a 1/4 inch border around my cutting mat. Apparently my child thought something was loud. So as you can see, the bottom is just barely on the paper. The side is just barely on the paper, and the top has a nice kiss cut. It's a 1/4 inch in all the way around. You can see I marked my Cricut mat because I do this fairly often, just to save on vinyl especially.
Meow, meow.
And I don't really know why I made it 1/4 inch to the side, because that really wasn't necessarily. It was just a 1/4 inch to the top that I needed. Force of habit.
Meow, meow. Meow, meow.
So the paper that I used my envelope was light cardstock. I'm changing it to cardstock for the heavier paper and for the glitter. The glitter could actually probably be light cardstock plus. I tried it on light cardstock the first time I used it, and it cut pretty well except on the little tiny details. Make sure when you put your pen in to hold the holder, to push up on the holder so that the pen doesn't slam down and hit your paper. As you can see, I've used this glitter paper for another project. That is for the grandma card that I am also releasing today. This paper doesn't exactly weed very well. The next time I use it, I will probably use my light grip mat, because I did tear it right there. If I were using the positive space on the I love you, it would have come out perfectly. The negative space tore. Not saying that wasn't user error though. As you can see, the I love you was perfectly left on there, including all the little spaces that I had to pull out, like the middle of the L and the middle of the Y. I also pulled out a couple of little tiny tittle-like pieces from the U, or excuse me, the O, and I pulled out a total of 4 little pieces, including the middle of the L and the middle of the Y. One of the biggest concerns that I had about getting the Explore Air versus the Maker was that a lot of reviews were talking about how the scoring stylus didn't do anything. I kind of agree, but I also think that it does enough for me to make a great fold using a straight edge like the ruler. I have no experience with the Maker. Maybe the Maker is so much better. using the scoring wheel versus the scoring stylus. But it's not so bad, in my opinion. I did get the tape a little bit high on this. If you do make this card, fold the bottom piece up first to see where it ends, because I got it too high. So I was careful to not put that flush against the side so that it would give a lot of space for my card. And then I had to de-tack that tape. But look how much space there is. It's a lovely fit. And I'm just using that ruler to weight down the card while I arrange my words. And I'm going to be using adhesive squares to put under the mom, which is part of the reason I wanted so much room in my envelope. And magic of video, I've put an adhesive square under all the points. This part would be easier to do if I hadn't torn that little point. That little point is so small though. I don't know if I would have been able to manage to not tear that. After doing these cards, I went shopping. And I stopped in the crafting section of Walmart and picked up a glue pen because that crafter tape was problematic to use.
Wow, yo.
There's Kai going, whatever. And as you can see, I messed up the alignment of the bottom part of the I love ya. I used my little Cricut spatula to lift it up. And it fell into place fairly easily after that. I was left with a tiny little bit of glue. I scraped off the glue and then fixed the resulting mark with a gray Sharpie. And it came out really well. If you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to see it at this point. I attached the middle of my letters, my L and my Y, slightly out of frame. I put glue stick on the back of them. certainly isn't necessary to do the smaller little pieces. I think the L and the Y really do need it, but that I, maybe not. I like the way it looks though. The crafter's tape was difficult to use on these small pieces, so I decided to use glue stick. I put down a ceramic tile underneath it so that I could go off the edges without fear of making my tabletop sticky. The ceramic tile works really well for this. The glue stick is really easy to clean up. A little bit of soap and water or even rubbing alcohol. After burnishing it down, my envelope is ready. My card fits in it really well. I'll use a sticker to seal it off. And happy Mother's Day. Thank you for watching.